everybody.
My name is Noelle McFoy.
And I'm Scott Ramp.
And thanks for tuning in to Up Missoula. That was Asaph Adonai on piano.
Yep.
Asaph, what song was that?
That is called Happy Trails. That's the theme song to the people we're going to talk about.
Awesome.
That was their theme
Excellent.
song.
Great.
Well, we can't wait to hear all about him later today on this morning's show,
Yes,
of course.
on Wake Up Missoula.
Let me get through this first. Let's talk about how you can get more information about Wake Up Missoula, how you can get in contact with us. You can log on to our website, wakeupmissoula.wix.com/wakeupmissoula. So nice we had to name it twice. You can also find us on our Facebook page where you can totally like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. You can also follow us on our MCATs.
Yeah, on MCAT's Twitter page. You can also like Missoula Community Access Television on Facebook. MCAT on our very own website, mcat.org. If you want to find out more information about us, you can check us out on that website. And then,
MCAT is seeking 2 volunteers to be board members on our very own Missoula Community Access Television
And what does
board.
that entail?
It entails is basically you're supposed to approve budget and spendings happening at MCAT with over a $500,000 budget that comes into MCAT every year, and you have to determine where the money goes.
Interesting.
There's proposals and stuff like that, but yeah.
I can see how that can be really hard, but also really awesome.
It would be really awesome. We're a television station, and you get to pitch ideas for other things, other equipment and stuff.
Can employees
No,
be
employees
on the board?
cannot be on the board.
Oh,
That's like across the board for everywhere.
Yeah, it makes sense. I always wondered, but it makes sense.
But also tonight, it's orientation night. So every second Wednesday of the month, like today, we host an orientation for anybody in the community to come down and be part of MCAT. Whether it's you want to volunteer, you want to just borrow some equipment that includes cameras,
tripods,
video cameras, picture-taking cameras, tripods,
batteries, computers,
light kits,
anything that you need.
And
we've got it all for you. And you can use the studio.
Yep.
And one of us to help you tape things.
Yes, and also when you're done filming, we also teach you how to edit as well. Part of the orientation is that there is an additional fee for helping you with editing and teaching you some editing tricks and tips for you just getting started off. But of course, those fees can be dealt with in volunteer hours.
Yeah. And it's also really cheap. It's only like $25 a year.
Yep.
So definitely worth it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Of course, we have a lot of stuff to talk about on our show today, so I just need to get through this. Of course, the fire in Glacier is heating up.
Yeah, I heard that there was another one. I heard that the first one was contained, and then now there's a second one. And so that one was at how many acres?
The second one is at 1,100 acres.
Wow.
Yep, more than 1,100. Oh no, way more than 11,000 acres.
11,000. Okay.
1,100 is like 11,000 is a little more intimidating. 10 times more than I just said.
1,100. Yes.
11,
and then if you guys noticed that storm on Monday night, I hope that you all were safe and inside. It was an estimated 18,000 people lost power from Darby to Polson, and including the Missoula area, and then now there's still 8,000 people without power.
Yep.
Up in the Upper Linda Vista area, I guess they won't have power for the next 5 days. One of my friends lives in the Rattlesnake, and she said she might not have power for another day or two.
Yeah, and MCAT, we went off the air. We were off the air. The charter cable was off the air sometime yesterday until about later in the evening. So we were still able to broadcast after 6 for our school board meeting, of course, I didn't watch it, so you guys can find out more information, and you can watch it on our website, mcat.org, because we usually post the video when we're able to show it. Like when it's on rerun or anything like that, we have a video on demand feature on our website, and you can find out more by going to mcat.org.
Yep.
Of course, here is the weather forecast right now. It is currently 60 degrees, so I hope it stays that way. But it won't stay that way because it's going to get into the 90s the next 2 days, and then it's going to start cooling off for Friday. But you won't really see any big change until Saturday and Sunday. So you can expect a sunny weekend ahead of us that I'm looking forward to. Of course, I'm always looking forward to the weekend by Tuesday.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
It'll be a sunny weekend, but a little cooler than this week. It's supposed to be a high of 97 tomorrow, you guys. So if you have any chance or any time to get on the river, do it. We highly suggest it.
But we have one brand new program happening tonight. It's around 7:30.
Oh, great.
So here's a little tease of the. I think it's more like an air quality competition. So best ways to improve your air quality, and this is a high school competition, and you get to watch all the presentations and then the winner of the competition. But of course, here's a little tease for tonight's brand new program about air quality by high school students.
Alright, hi, my name's Ben Tabaracci.
I'm Cody Mutiela.
Walker K.
And I'm Ryan Mason.
We're in Mr. Taylor's Chemistry 2 class at Sentinel High School, and our project was about air quality in indoor swimming facilities.
And finally, first place, air quality in indoor swimming facilities.
Nice. Way to go, kids. That was great. Well, we are going to move on, and we're going to do some events with me. Okay, here I am. All right. Well, this is what's going on starting today. Lots of things happening on your Wednesday. So starting at 10 a.m. Mismo Gymnastics is their family fun time. This is for ages walking to 12 years, and they just have all the fun things in a gymnastics gym that you could want. Trampolines, foam pits, springboards, things you can flip all over. Yeah, $5 for members or $8 for non-members. And then Out to Lunch is at Caris Park at 11. This is a free weekly concert series. They feature musicians and over 20 varied food vendors. This is always every Wednesday from 11 to 2. And so the music is Ben Rice and the Illmatics, and then the kids' activities by the Children's Museum of Missoula and the Rocky Mountain Ballet Theater. This is sponsored by Destination Missoula, Opportunity Resources, Inc., and the Red Lion Inn. Over at the Radius Gallery, starting today at 11 a.m., they are having a group show. It's called Compositions, and this is bringing together the artworks of 5 diverse and dynamic artists. So that's at the Radius Gallery for the next month, August 12th to September 12th. So get down there and check that out. I bet that's going to be really interesting. And over at Spectrum Discovery area, starting at 11 a.m., their Discovery Bench is DNA extraction, and their Brain Lab is Savvy Smells. Yeah. And then over at Natural Grocers, they've got a class. It's their Stress, Hormones, and Belly Fat class. It starts at 11:30 a.m. And they've been doing this class a lot lately, and I can only imagine that is because it's really popular. So you can learn how hormone imbalances can distort your midsection into a large belly and prevent weight loss even with dieting and exercising. You can learn why counting calories doesn't work for belly fat and all the other things and ways to get rid of it. So that's at 11:30 a.m. at Natural Grocers today. There's a free matinee at the Missoula Public Library starting at 2 p.m. This is in the large meeting room. It's a classic film second and fourth Wednesday of the month. Middle School Writers is also at the Missoula Public Library starting at 3:30. This is a writing group for grades 6 through 9. Every Wednesday from 3:30 to 5. Those teenagers can, or middle schoolers can get and give good feedback, play with words, and eat some chocolate. Then over at the Top Hat Lounge, they've got their fish-themed happy hours. So they've got an audio show, video show, trivia, lots of different activities that go along with the jam band Fish. And also, if you go to their happy hour, the fish-themed happy hour, as well as their Grateful Dead happy hour on Mondays, you'll receive a punch card. And if you go to both of those, you can get punches and get a full card. And when you get a full card, Scott,
Punches.
If you get a full card, you can get a free ticket to any other shows.
We should just have people fighting in the background as you're doing events.
That's a great idea. We should do it on a green screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Friday show will be on a green screen, everyone.
We'll try.
But yeah, the Top Hat thing is a really good deal. And those happy hour, like fish-themed happy hour and the Grateful Dead, are totally free. So, I mean, why not? And then at Grape Run Brewing Company, they are having a charity pint night. They are 50 cents from each pint sold. It's going to Mended Little Hearts of Montana. And they're going to have Bao Chow Asian food cart, which I just love saying. Bao Chow. It's so fun. And then over at the Kettle House on the north side, they're having their community unite. So 50 cents from each pint sold goes to organization of the night. It doesn't say what it is, but if you go in there, either way, you'll be giving back to something good.
Nice.
Yeah. And then at the Rhino, there is a cigar club. There's a cigar club forming. So it's an inaugural event. It costs $15 and will include a cigar and a drink. Leftover money will go toward money for the club. Summertime cocktails will be available, as well as the Rhino's huge beer and whiskey selection. Other cigars will be available for purchase, or you can bring your own. And it'll take place outside behind the Rhino in their beer garden.
In their beer garden,
It's not a beer garden, it's just like some...
They just put up a white picket fence.
Yeah, it's just some terrible fence with some chairs.
No,
yeah.
But people go there. Like,
yeah, I love
every time. Like, it is the best place now. It's just like, it's like... You don't realize this how a good idea is
outdoor
until you
seating.
just outdoor seating. Just put it right there.
Yeah.
You have the outflow from the Rhinos and the Mo Club.
Yeah.
And just like set up tables, put a nice little white picket fence.
Yeah.
And like it's cheesy, but
it's great.
People are just gonna go there. People will flock there.
That's all they'll
People
hang
are
out.
gonna flock there. I'm gonna steal that word, flock.
People are just gonna flock to the Rhino.
Yeah. Let's get this rest of this flock of events happening.
That sounds flocking great.
FCC, I'm sorry.
Okay, the Missoula Public Library has answered our prayers. Because remember, they've got their official Gamers Club for ages 19 and under. And I always say, like, gaming for grown-ups. And they now have gaming for grown-ups. And it's called Gaming for Grown-ups. It's at 6 p.m. at the Missoula Public Library this evening. And I can imagine that it's probably for people 19 and older. And so they have a new game featured each week. You can learn a new game or play some from their collection. August will feature cooperative games, including Pandemic and Zombicide.
Nice.
6 to 8 in the large meeting room. Yeah. And over at the Zootown Arts Community Center, they've got their monthly glass fusing orientation class. This is an introductory class that will cover the basics of glass, from how the I can never say that word. Kilning process works. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me for some reason. Kilning process works to slumping, fusing, mold making, and glass aftercare.
It's like saying aluminium.
Yeah, or cinnamon. Yeah.
Cinnamonium.
Cinnamonium. Oh my gosh.
Well, that's how the British say it.
With a kiln. So once you have come into their glass fusing orientation class, you can go into their glass fusing studio anytime and do whatever you want to. So this class is $15 and plus the cost of glass, which is anywhere between $5 and $20. So it can either be about $20 or it can be $40. It's up to you. Over at the Downtown Dance Collective, they have got a dance class called the Art of Embrace Tango, which they love tango over there. So Laurel and Robert Sears have come together to have partnered together to bring this wonderful workshop of tango. So it'll focus on musicality and weight sharing. And then this next event is sponsored by the Missoula Art Museum. This is called Drawing and Drinking in the Park. This is for adults from 7 to 9 tonight. $27 for members, $30 for not members. And artist Bela Locks will be leading the class in selecting a subject to draw and planning the composition, and then you will drink a glass of wine. Yeah, sounds great. And then over at Taste Buds Kitchen, the new kitchen that is here in Missoula, located on 113 East Main Street, they've got a cupcake wars. So they're going to teach you the techniques to make a cupcake, but also they'll have different things on the table for you to put in your cupcake. So it's not just like your basic cupcake. It's crazy cupcake. And then they're going to judge you. But you can bring your own beer. $40 per person. And then over at the Missoula Public Library, they've got a second Wednesday book group. They are going to be discussing So Big by Edna Ferber, 7 p.m. in the boardroom. Oh, and then that's what I've got for Wednesday.
Yes.
If you want to find out about like night events, just go to MissoulaEvents.net and it'll show you everything that's going on this evening. I saw a bunch of karaoke. There's karaoke at the Broadway, the Badlander,
and trivia
and the
nights.
Dark Horse and trivia. Yeah, it's a bunch of karaoke and trivia tonight.
But if you guys are interested in city government, you should totally come down to the city council chambers tonight, located right by the Thomas Meeker Bar. Of course, that's the horrible way of explaining where City Hall is. But you can find out all about the Design Review Board. You know what the Design Review Board is? Basically, they talk about businesses and how big their signs should be. and how many of them they should be.
Oh,
It should be interesting, and it's going to be on MCAT tonight.
that'll be really
7:30.
interesting. Great. Check it out, everyone.
Yep. But
Yeah, without
further ado,
Okay.
go ahead, hit it, take it away.
We're going to talk about the greatest husband and wife team to ever grace the silver screen. And of course, we're talking about the one and only Dell Evans and her husband Roy Rogers. We'll get to Dell first. Dell was an American writer, film star, singer, songwriter. And of course, she was married to Roy Rogers, the king of the cowboys. And she was born Lucille Wood Smith, later became Frances Octavia Smith while she was still an infant. And after a failed marriage as a teenager, she goes to pursue her career and went on to become Dell Evans to the world. And then she did all the radio, singing over the radio live at that time, doing jazz, swing, big band music, which led to a screen test with 20th Century Fox, and the rest is history for her. She became the first lady of the singing cowboy era, which leads to our second guest, born Leonard Franklin Sly, known to the world as Roy Rogers. And Roy Rogers was an American singer, cowboy actor, one of the most popular Western stars of his era.
So popular they made a drink out of him.
Yeah, and also a restaurant too called Roy Rogers, the franchise that lent his name to that. So anyway, he's known as the King of the Cowboys. He's appeared in over 100 films, numerous radio and television episodes of the Roy Rogers Show with his wife, Dell Evans. And, of course, he had a horse named Trigger and a dog named Bullet. And the show, it started on radio and then eventually transferred over to television from 1951 to 1957. So... and finally, Roy Rogers had a sidekick named Pat Brady, and George Gabby Hayes, and Andy Devine. So those three were the sidekicks to this cowboy, and he came up around the time of Gene Autry, the singing cowboys. But of course, Roy Rogers and Dell Evans, their names stood out. They were the most famous of that era. So there's not like a bunch of awards or anything. It just talks about their early careers leading up to being the cowboys of all time, and the cowgirl in her case.
Oh God, they were a beautiful couple.
Yeah,
they super handsome.
They were the ultimate Hollywood couple.
I bet they were.
They lost children in real life, I think, through some tragic events, and their marriage is maintained.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I got to meet Dell Evans when I was a sophomore in high school.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, she came to the church that I used to go to because one of her sons was a professional flautist, they call it.
Cool.
And he happened to play at the church where I used to go to. So she
cool.
showed up one Sunday morning. And it was so cool talking to Dell Evans in real life.
I bet that was neat.
That was such a treat. She took time and just sat down one-on-one to talk to me of all people.
Aww.
And I talked about her cowboy movies and things.
Mm-hmm.
And she never looked her age all her life.
She looks like
she was
great.
glamorous all her life. And we lost her at the age of 88 in 2001. And of course, we lost Roy at the age of 86 in 98.
Oh, okay.
So they left the world a great legacy.
And
Not
then
only that,
how many years were they married?
oh gosh, it doesn't say, but I've known that they were married ever since I've known of them.
Yeah, and so...
Yeah, they just had the ultimate Hollywood marriage. I would guess they were married, 30, 40 years, I would say. Even though these notes don't say. But they appeared together on the Roy Rogers Show more than anything they ever did as far as television. And, of course, radio.
Yeah. And then did they act in movies together, too?
Probably. Doesn't have any...
Was she mostly a musician? Did she sing mostly?
She did sing, and they did a theme song on that show, but we can't show it here, obviously.
Yeah.
But, yeah, she was a jazz singer, big band, swing, all that. She did it all.
Oh, nice.
But she'll always be remembered, of course, cowboy singing style, because being married to Roy Rogers. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been to the Roy Rogers restaurant. There's some pretty good food there, actually.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Where is it?
Is it mostly like a East Coast and California
More
type
West
thing?
Coast, like California.
Oh,
Really?
really?
Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
Well, I suppose they may have some Roy Rogers now these days in the East Coast.
Yeah.
But it was always immaculate and clean and just real good food.
Nice.
Real good
That's
quality
awesome.
food.
just like Roy Rogers would have wanted it.
Yeah, that's it. So that's my tribute to Dale Evans and Roy Rogers, and what a great legacy these two left.
Cool. Very neat. Thanks, Asaph.
Sure.
Okay, and then my last question is, what was the height of their popularity? Like, what years?
My guess would probably be in the 50s, I'd say, with that television show.
Yeah.
From 51 to 57 is when the Roy Rogers show was on the
Okay.
air.
Yeah.
But I think they were doing the Roy Rogers show on radio, live radio too, before it transitioned into television.
Oh, cool.
And television came out around the early 50s too, so
Yeah, so that they
good
were like
timing.
the first.
Yeah, they were like the first. Good timing.
Cool, that's neat. Thanks,
Thank you.
Asaph.
Sure.
That's really neat. Well, that was Musical Notes with Asaph Adonai.
Thank you, Asaph.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, and now we're going on to Wednesday events. I mean, Thursday events. You know.
Punch.
Oh, I'm going. Wait, try that again and I'll go.
Oh, no.
I don't know which way to go. Okay, so this is everything that's going on tomorrow. So starting Thursday at 9 a.m. over at the Lifelong Learning Center, they're having a QuickBooks intro and overview. And so QuickBooks is good for tracking and reporting financial activities, whether for a business, nonprofit organization, or special interest club. So they will teach you how to refine settings, navigate, and understand the tools available to you. Bring your laptop with QuickBooks already installed or use a classroom computer. Over at the Providence Center, they've got their NAMI Missoula weekly meeting. This is a free weekly meeting for anyone affected by mental illness or interested in learning about NAMI. It's located at 902 North Orange Street in room 104. Tiny Tales is at the Missoula Public Library starting at 10:30 a.m. This is babies ages birth through 3 years. And the participants will sing songs, learn finger plays, nursery rhymes, and hear stories. It's usually held downstairs in the large meeting room. And over at Spectrum Discovery area, starting at 11 tomorrow, their Discovery Bench is dry ice and their Brain Lab is glowing cells. And then from 12 to 2 on Thursdays in July and August, Big Sky High School students from Missoula will be going in there to be talking to children about the influence of media on nutrition. And activities will include practice grocery shopping, yoga, and eating healthy snacks. So that's from 12 to 2 tomorrow. Over at the Missoula County Fairgrounds, it is the fair. The fair started last night, and I went, and there were no rides open. And I was very upset. The bad fair food wasn't even worth it.
Oh, no.
I know. I'm going to have to go again.
Was it a free day on Tuesday?
Yeah, it was free, and all the rides weren't open.
Was at least one ride open or anything? It was just
none.
Slow start?
It was because of the storm. Because there were like still storm warnings and it was really dark.
So they didn't decide to like start building it up until Tuesday?
Yeah, I don't think that they like had any. I think
that was smart.
I think because of the storm, they weren't really able to like practice all the rides, and like I saw them like testing some of them, making sure they ran correctly, but no one was on any of them. So it was a bummer. I was really sad.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I'd rather be safe than sorry.
But over at the Missoula County Fairgrounds, they're having the Air National Guard where they're doing a mobile experience, which I think this is kind of cool but also kind of weird. Starts at noon tomorrow, and so the Air National Guard mobile experience is a free interactive experience that provides attendees an opportunity to participate in simulated challenges that replicate the real-life experiences of Air Guard men and women. Participants will also visit an interactive uniform experience where they can digitally view themselves wearing the Air National Guard uniform from their chosen career field.
So basically, it just feels like it's just an Air Force booth with like a pull-up bar.
Some virtual reality stuff.
And then a mirror.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like one of the like a virtual.
A virtual reality mirror.
And basically, you put your head to it, and then.
Yeah. It's one of those cutout booths. Yeah. Pretty much a video game in a cutout booth.
Yeah.
The whole experience.
The whole experience. All right.
Natural Grocers, they are having a 60th anniversary celebration, which I think is kind of funny because they've only been in Missoula for like 3 years.
No,
4
years. 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah, really short amount of time.
Yeah, 2 years, something like that. But I guess they've been around in the area, in the world, for 60 years. Yeah. So the co-founder, Margaret Isley, she's turning 60, and they're also celebrating her birthday as well as, the 60th anniversary. So they are doing 60% off select products, free limited edition reusable bags, kids coloring book, and product samples. You can also enter to win a $60 gift card, t-shirts, books, and more.
Wait,
Yeah.
so she's turning 60?
I think so.
Oh, okay. So that means she basically franchised Natural Grocers as soon as she came out of her mama?
I believe so. Well,
All right,
she may not be. She may be being older than 60 because it's a celebration of the 60th anniversary and the birthday of co-founder Margaret.
Oh, okay.
Eisen.
So she must be like
Maybe 100. She's probably 100.
Who knows?
Yeah, we don't know anything about Margaret. But check that out. And then over at the Missoula Public Library tomorrow at 1 is Read Dogs. These are Reading Education Assistance Dogs. These are the Dragon Rug in the children's area. And if you have problems reading or want to read to someone, you can go here and read to some cute dogs. Yay! I would definitely do that. And then there is I talked about the NAMI support group, and now there's a NAMI connection group. And then, so this is people that have mental illness. And so it's a free weekly support group with adults for adults with mental illness. 202 Brook Street, room 210, starting at 1:30 tomorrow. And then over at Natural Grocers, they've got two events that are kind of backtrack each other, don't go along. First, we've got the paleo and vegan wrap sampling. They're going to demonstrate how to make great paleo vegan wraps. They're going to do a classic chicken paleo wraps with a no peanut sauce and vegan chickpea salad wraps. You can also chat with a nutritional health coach for preparation tips and other great meal ideas. And then they have a 1950s style ice cream social. So at 4, you can do paleo and vegan wraps, or you can come back at, again, 4 and do a 1950s style ice cream social. So they are going to do ice cream sundaes, root beer floats, and other dairy and non-dairy ice cream treats. And you'll find yourself bebopping to the hip sound of the 50s music as well as eating ice cream in their store. Just sounds crazy. They've got a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah, they do.
Which is good. I think it's a good thing to do to bring the community in and connect people with the community. And, I don't know. Sounds great.
Like the conversation, you're vegan too, right? Yeah, I'm vegan too.
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
vegan.
yeah. Let's be vegan together.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
You want some ice cream?
Well, I'll see you later.
Yeah. That's how Scott talks to his vegan friends.
That's how I talk to people who are vegan. Oh, you vegan? Yeah, I'm vegan too. Well, see you later.
Well, okay, bye.
I don't care about other vegans. What people do with themselves is their own business. Mm-hmm. What I do with myself is my own business. Privacy.
All right. Over.
Thanks, A-Staff.
Yeah, privacy, okay.
That doesn't exist anymore thanks to the internet.
Yep.
You can only just defer it. Defer privacy. That's the name of my new band, Defer Privacy.
Defer privacy. Thanks. Okay, so over at La Greta Bella, they've got a downtown drop-in wine tasting. Cost is $10, payable to the Old Post Pub. And this is underneath the Old Post Pub. Minimum of 4 wines in a different theme each week. And then we've got downtown tonight at Karis Park. This is the same as Out to Lunch on Wednesdays, but it is Thursday evenings from 5:30 to 8:30. They feature musicians, over 20 varied food vendors. So the music is Ryan Chris and the Rough Cuts. Kids activities by Mismo Gymnastics and the Rocky Mountain Ballet Theater. They are sponsored by DirecTV, Destination Missoula, and Windfall Inc. Nice. So thank you very much, sponsors. And then Treasure State Toastmasters is at the Community Medical Center at 6 p.m. This is a workshop-style program where participants hone their speaking and leadership skills in a low-pressure and supportive atmosphere. So that'll be at Community Medical Center. And then we've got 2 more events for tomorrow. Downtown Dance Collective, all week they've been having a Missoula Summer Dance Intensive.
They've been doing a lot of dance stuff.
Yeah, where they've been having different dance artists and professionals from all over the country come and talk about, their dancing. And so tomorrow night at 6 p.m. is a panel discussion, Making a Life in Dance. It's a free event, and all the dance intensive artists will discuss their lives and livelihoods and the profession of dancer, teacher, choreographer, and an artist. So that's awesome. It's good to know and how they make it and what they do to stay afloat and survive. And over at Imagination Brewing Company, they've got some basement improv. This is a improv group. And they just have a night of laughs, learning, and spontaneous suggestions, free and open to the public. Starts at 6 p.m. You can come watch. Andrew can participate in their improv improv games and skits.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the same people who put on the once a month Union Club comedy thing.
Yeah, yeah. So that'll be good. We've got some decent comedians.
So if you guys go to the Union Club once a month for the comedy show, you'd recognize all these people for the improv.
Yeah. But that's what's going on for your events. As always, you can check out MissoulaEvents.net. You can check out The Independent, the newspaper, the University of Montana website. They always have all their events on there. But we're going to switch gears now over to Scott, and we've got some city council.
Yes. And of course, here is, we have a video from our Mayor John Engen doing a proclamation, and here it is.
Proclamation, ladies and gentlemen, whereas the city of Missoula recognizes the value of simple acts of kindness performed without prompting or reason, and how these acts can positively impact the performer, the recipient, and onlookers of the good deed, and whereas people of any age can participate in random acts of kindness at any time and any place to spread goodwill, and whereas nice people help to create a kinder, more caring community through our beautiful city and can help perpetuate genuine acts of kindness through their own friendly behaviors and positive actions, and whereas by providing random acts of kindness and reaching out to one another regardless of social, economic status, education, gender, origin, age, religious beliefs, lifestyle, or abilities, we extend an opportunity for grace and acceptance that might not otherwise be offered, and whereas celebrating this week brings new awareness to our city and can help make Missoula a better place to live, work, and play. And although the International Random Act of Kindness Annual Week and Day are held worldwide in February, because we are Missoula, we're celebrating our own Random Act of Kindness Week this year in August. Now, therefore, I, John Engen, Mayor of the City of Missoula and the State of Montana, do hereby proclaim August 10th through 14th as Random Act of Kindness Week in Missoula, Montana.
All right. So
All right, you guys.
So this week is a Random Act of Kindness Week.
2 more
and
days
of course,
to be nice.
The City Council was hosting a ordinance for the exotic animal ordinance.
Ooh, yes.
So
this is a hot topic in Missoula currently.
Between the two groups of people who want to protect the animals for traveling, exotic animals for display or performances, versus the people who've always liked the circus and always had a good repertoire with the city and has never had a problem with their animals and stuff like that. But of course, we're going to hear it from both sides. I have a bunch of clips ready for you guys from both sides, so we're going to listen to each and every one of them. So, but first, we're going to have Brian von Lossberg. He's going to head up this hearing. But here's some background for those of you who don't know the whole exotic animal ordinance. So, several constituents have contacted council members regarding adoption of an ordinance banning exotic animal performance in the city of Missoula. A draft ordinance has been prepared for discussion. The purpose of the ordinance is to protect the public against hazards associated with commercial display or performance of wild and exotic animals, and also to protect wild and exotic animals from cruel and inhumane treatment. And without further ado, here is Brian von Lossberg giving the presentation before the initial comments from the public.
That a group of constituents brought this to me several months ago and talked to me about the merits of it, and I agreed to bring it before council to have exactly this sort of dialogue about it and for it to be considered. So appreciate everyone who's in attendance to give comment. This is an ordinance that would live in Title VI, it creates Chapter 6.24, Wild and Exotic Animals, and really there's two focus areas to the proposed ordinance. One is to protect the public against hazards associated with the commercial display or performance of wild and exotic animals, and then the second part is to protect wild and exotic animals from cruel and inhumane treatment. And I'm just going to step through several slides that go through the language of the ordinance. Again.
Okay, so he kind of went through of what I exactly just said, but of course I want him to just say it for his own purposes.
Yeah.
But of course, these are, of course, the ordinance is focusing on the hazardous from the animals to the people, but also taking into account that the protection of the welfare of the animals. But this is the public hearing. This is David Hartz. He's against the ordinance, and I'm just going to go quickly through all these people because there's a lot of quotes and they make a lot of good points. And I'll start with David Hartz.
Circus is a way of life, and this ordinance will kill it. Thank you.
Yep, that's
Okay.
that was his general comment. Of course, there's a lot of comments just like that where just like, no, I don't want to hear it. And of course, this is our very own Emmett the punk rocker on our show,
Emmett.
on MCAT, who is actually wrapping up his 20-year run on Awful Truth About Society. But of course, he makes a point against the ordinance, and not in terms of the protection of the exotic animals, but in terms of government overreach.
And in brief, I'm completely against this ordinance, and I also urge you to vote against it. I myself don't care for fairs one way or the other. I've never thought about them, but I heard about this ordinance on Talkback, the local radio show. I was appalled. To me, I love animals myself, but this is political correctness to the extreme. I think many people will bring up that these animals are not harmed or injured, and this is good quality family entertainment for everyone. I would take my children to the Shriner Circus. They do a lot of good work here, and, you know, PETA, you know, and some other animal rights activists are also the same ones that are against hunting in Montana and fishing as cruel acts against Montana. I know I'm an aging punk rocker, but I support hunting and fishing too. We have a way of life here. We love quality time with our families, and we love innocent, good, wholesome entertainment. And I support the children. What about the children who would say, you know, I can't bring them, my son or daughter, to the Shriners Circus because of political correctness, because they, you know, said the animals, you know, are being endangered when they are not. So I'm completely against this ordinance, and I urge you to please support the Shriners Circus. Even though I may or may not go to the circus, I've never thought about this, but we've got to fight this level of political correctness, that is, because we don't want our state of Montana to become New York or California. So
okay, so
I thought that's a good twist on that. The political correctness thing, that's a good like twist.
That's why I used them.
Yeah, that's a
sure.
good like different
And
idea.
of course, for the last two quotes, I've shown people who are against the ordinance, but this is somebody who is for it. This is Kate Duranos, and she is totally for this ordinance.
If I could, there's a lot of people here I think are not going to stand up and speak, and so if I could ask them to very quietly stand up and show their support of the ordinance right now, that would be great. Thank you. I support the ordinance because I believe that forcing wild animals to perform is inherently cruel and not an acceptable form of entertainment. It puts people at risk, and it sends the wrong message to kids about the value of wildlife and our relationship with animals. On a recent weekend, I was part of an effort to gather signatures in support of the ordinance. I spent 4.5 hours downtown, and during that time, only 2 people declined to sign. The response was overwhelmingly positive, and many people thanked us for bringing attention to the issue. A couple of weeks ago, we posted an online petition on change.org asking people to sign who agreed with the ordinance. In just a couple of weeks, we collected over 1,000 signatures. Many people also left comments. I'd like to read just a few of those comments left by people
Of course, I'm going to skip the comments because it goes a little long, but she made her point, and if you want to find out more information about the city council, I mean, you can actually watch the whole entire 2.5-hour meeting.
Oh, wow.
But they spend about 80% of it on it. So, yeah, moving on to our next person. This is Cedric Haynes, and he is against the ordinance.
I have a sister that was born in St. Pat's Hospital in 1953 with serious birth defects. As she grew, kids called her pig face. She'd come home after school and cry to my mother, "Mommy, why did God make me this way?" I wish you all could have seen what she went through as a kid. The Shrine Hospital took her in and did a series of operations on her when she was a baby, and then again when she was about 14. She is now married, has children, grandchildren, is gainfully employed, and leading a healthy, happy, normal life thanks to the Missoula Shrine Club and the Missoula Shrine Circus. Please remember why the circus is performed. And in this, are we going to ban rodeos, Missoula County Fair, dog shows, and retriever trials? Please think about this and give serious consideration to letting the Shrine Circus perform as it does. Thank you.
All right, so
that's another good, like, different view.
There's a lot of good points on either side. This is Michael Valentine, and he is totally for the ordinance, and this is what he had to say.
This is not the way I support this ordinance. The way I understand it, it's not against the Shriner, against circuses. The West has always loved circuses, right? Remember the Roman, they threw Christian to the lions, lions against tigers, gladiators against gladiators, although the repress is coming back through TV, but it's simulation. So circuses are great. Shriner Circus does a great job. But at the same time, sensitivity have changes. Sensibility, there's progress, might we like it or not. And animals, especially wild animals, we do know what's going on all over the world in the environment, are endangered. And they have no voice, of course. Otherwise, if they could vote, we wouldn't be there. So it's up to us to try to speak for animals. And as we know, wild animals especially are mistreated. What do you think? They jump. You think you speak to them? Of course you speak, but that's not enough. There is an element of cruelty which doesn't go anymore. And the Shriner Circus could do other stuff, like in Walt Disney World, they have simulation, they have great education program, so it's not against the Shriner such. They have to change and find out substitute and simulation. Thank you.
All right.
That's great.
So
cool.
that was another point made by Michael Valentine.
And a lot of great points on both sides.
And this is Carol Gordon, and she is also for this ordinance as well. And this is what she had to there, this is what she had to say about that.
So I urge the council to adopt this ordinance, and I invite the local Masonic lodges and the Shriners to embrace this change, to choose compassion. If they lose funds for their good works as a result, I personally will commit not only to donate, but to volunteer my time to help them raise the funds they need. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Gordon.
All right.
That's a good alternative, too. To just donate our time and funds. Yeah, definitely.
But now that we're going further and further into some of these quotes, one of the people, this is Dan Dean, he needs an exotic fish seller who is worried about his business. So this ordinance, and he is more, he actually, this quote is very important in terms of the ordinance as well, because it really kind of helps to defer what exactly is the case.
Yeah, the language.
What's the language? To clarify some of the language. So this is just, I'll get to it later in this section of City Council, but this is what he had to say about his exotic fish business.
I'm opposed to the ordinance in relationship how it will affect my business. I'm the owner of Up Missoula. I am a commercial entity that sells, displays wild and exotic saltwater fish, corals, and invertebrates. And my concern is with the definition of display being an exhibit of live animals open to the public, it could affect my business. And I'm asking that a possible exemption be put in place for my commercial endeavor so that I don't have to worry about certain people reading into this ordinance things that would affect my ability to continue my business. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, that's a
because he sells exotic fish.
Yeah,
and fish are on display.
Exotic animals
who are performance and on display.
Yeah.
So that was one of the
and I could see people
that's definitely knocked a chip in the ordinance in the
Yeah, I could see people reading into that and just being like, oh well.
And of course, this is Don Lorenzen, and he is against the ordinance. Continuing on.
And I've personally, and my son, my family, we visited this, and I got to tell you, I think it's pretty amazing what the treatment these elephants get. Brushed down, washed twice a day. The facilities were amazing, and they provide these animals around the LA area certain travel. They have limits. They're well cared for animals. This I say from fact. They also support a nonprofit to provide care and sanctuaries around the world for elephants. So they're well versed in this. I think a lot of these discussions are somewhat from ignorance. People don't understand some of these situations. The exemption you've got in there for rodeos, my point on that was some of these ordinances start, and that's just the next one to fall. Might be a year, might be 2 years, and somebody will start, well, we banned elephants, now we got to ban rodeos, and whatever else, the exotic fish, and so forth.
All right, so there's more to that quote. You can find out more if you go onto the city website and find the information. Yeah. But I'm going to quickly try to go through all these because our next person is Barry Hartman, and he is a Shriner. So we get to hear from the Shriners themselves, and he is, obviously, he's against the ordinance, and this is what he had to say.
Shrine Circus has been in Missoula for 65 years, and we have never had a public safety issue. I'll repeat that. That's worth repeating. In the 65 years that the Shrine Circus has come to Missoula, Montana, we have never had a public safety issue. The only public safety issue that we had was about 4 years ago when a PETA member hit one of our 70-plus-year-old clowns named Sylvia, who's here tonight. Want to wave, Sylvia? In the head with a sign. That's been the only public safety that we've had. And I am very much against this ban. This is something that is wholesome. It's inexpensive. The kids get a free ticket, and the people get to come, and they show up 25,000 and above every year, and we've been doing this for 65 years. This is our fundraiser for the transportation fund to send our children back and forth to Spokane Hospital. And we send children around the United States to the 22 hospitals that the Shriners give for free health care.
Yep. Aww. So moving on to our next quote. Our next quote is Dr. Tim Provo, and he's talking about some of the health conditions that the animals are in, and his concerns with.
Got a doctor. Okay.
Well, he's a physician for children as well. Yeah. Like he's a physician for children. He'll explain it. This is Tim.
This is not an animal rights issue. This is an animal welfare issue. This is not a slippery slope that somehow ends with the loss of our hunting rights, the loss of our gun ownership rights, the loss of rodeos and dog shows, or any other of these rather bizarre theories that you've heard in the last several weeks. This is an issue about animal abuse for profit and the fact that Missoulians are not comfortable with that concept. These animals live a terrible existence. There's no getting around that fact. These animals are housed in unacceptable conditions. They are transported from town to town in terrible conditions. They are subjected to terrible training methods to force them to perform these inane acts that we see at these circus events. That's the simple truth of this matter.
All right.
All right.
So that's what that was Dr. Wait, hold on.
Tim Provo.
Yep. Where am I? Right. There he is, yep. Dr. Tim Provo. This is Dean Gilmore, and he is against the ordinance, and he's been the circus director for the last 10 years.
Ooh.
So this is what he had to say.
Can't wait to hear this.
Yep. So it gets better and better.
It just gets better with each quote. Yeah, this is a hot
topic. Hot topic.
The proposed ordinance has nothing to do with animal welfare. It has to do with bestowing human rights on animals and infringing on the rights of animal owners. Personal freedom to make our own choice is at issue. We should have the right in this country to do what we want as long as we don't hurt our fellow citizens. These animals come to Missoula for 3 days out of 365 days per year. The people in Missoula should have the right to decide for themselves whether they want to attend a circus with circus animals or not. Citizens' choice does not need to be legislated. We staunchly believe and abide by animal welfare laws. We don't believe in animal welfare is the same thing as animal rights. The Missoula Public Health and Safety Committee believes they need to protect the public against hazards associated with commercial display or performance of wild and exotic animals, and to protect wild and exotic animals from cruel and inhumane treatment. Existing laws have not been broken. Due to the long record of our circus contractors with the City of Missoula, State of Montana, with no charge or convicted violations of the above laws, we believe there is no reason for the city to enact additional legislation to protect public or animals from harm. Our circus contractors have never been found in violation of federal or Montana cruelty to animal laws. There are far more pressing and obvious threats to public health and safety than animal circuses that show up for 3 days per year. This is a well-devised and executed plan by a few Missoulians to prevent the annual 25,000 to 30,000 of their neighbors from enjoying the circus. Is it really necessary to legislate the enjoyment of others? Or as a society has mandated in the past, is it possible for change to transpire naturally? It is obvious that citizens do not agree with the law-abiding service, product, or industry. They will naturally not support it. Our circus is loved and supported by thousands of Missoulians and Montanans. Our circus contractors are in compliance with existing state and local laws. Do our citizens require further legislation to be safe? We believe our citizens are intellectually able and can form their own opinions and exercise their right to freely assemble and be entertained by circus animals if they choose to do so.
All right. So he kind of starts... Okay, so I'm just going to move on.
Yeah.
I don't need to say anything. He's basically said it a couple times. This is the last quote from the public, and then I'm going to get into a couple of the city council members' comments in regards to this, some questions and stuff. But this is the last quote. This is Spider McKnight, and I ended the quote with her because she made a good point in terms of everything that's been going on in terms of whether or not, mostly in legislative work, but I'm going to let her speak. This is Spider McKnight.
So I work really hard to work for the environment. If I'm do well in life, it's my duty to give back. One reason I live in Missoula, and I love Missoula so much, is you guys, because I think you also believe in reciprocity. When our water's messed up, you fight to get it back. When Spider the lesbian is going to be discriminated against, you fight to make sure that I have the right to live here and love who I love. This is another example of reciprocity. When I hear people say, if you don't like what's going on at the circus, don't go, that means you're burying your head in the sand. That means, like, if we don't see it, it's not happening. There's a responsibility that we all have here to work for those who can't work for themselves. Reciprocity. We have wild animals. We have nature, we have a planet that we all owe something to. This is our chance to give back. This is why I don't live in Whitefish. This is why I don't live in Bozeman. This is why I live in Missoula. So please support this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
But of course, the ordinance, of course, went back to committee.
Yeah.
But of course, there was a huge thing, and it's all because of what Ed Childers said. And this is basically what Ed Childers had to say about it. And things get a little bit heated between Ed Childers and the mayor. But this is two different quotes I have from Ed Childers.
The ordinance says it's for two things. First is to protect the public against the hazards of wild and exotic animals, and the second is to protect the animals from cruel and inhumane treatment. And it does neither thing. It keeps wild and exotic animals out of the city of Missoula. I suppose you could say that protects the public from them. There has not, as far as I am aware, been a problem with wild and exotic animals in circuses. We do have the occasional bear. I don't think we can keep them out of town. As far as protecting the animals from cruel and inhumane treatment, clearly a bullhook is not something we'd like to have used on an elephant. If the elephant was here, we could craft an ordinance that would address that type of behavior. But if the elephant is not here, we will never see it, and we will never have a chance to do that.
All right, so moving on to the next part of the quote. This is Ed Childers continued with an interruption from John Angan.
For instance,
Mr. Childers,
yes, sir.
At some point, I'm going to need a question.
Like a question.
This is, I appreciate the rhetorical exercise, but we could get to this during debate if you'd like.
We could, but I'm not on that committee, and that's why I'm bringing it forward. I think it would be nice if a member of Public Safety and Health perhaps sent it back to committee, but I haven't heard of one that wanted to do that. And the reason I'm bringing this out, I mean, I let the council have it. I haven't shown it to the public. I'd be happy to include it in the record. I'm sure it will be. But it's factual information about the ordinance. The ordinance falls far short of what it should be trying to do. It has inconsistency in it that doesn't really bode well for the ordinance. And I'd be happy to stop if you want me to stop, but there's more to do.
There's no prohibition on you attempting to send it back just because you're not a member of the committee.
I'm not going to be at the committee. I'm not part of that committee.
Okay. Well, there's also no prohibition on you debating the merits of the ordinance when that time comes.
I won't be there.
This is this evening? If you're not going to send it back, and if no one else is sending it back...
We have a house full of people. I'd be happy to stop if you want me to stop.
I just want... Do you have a question?
I could phrase everything on this page in the form of a question. I did not know this was Jeopardy, but I understand.
Okay. Well, you and I have known each other for a long time, Ed, and I would not treat you with that type of disrespect.
All right, so,
What? Mayor Indian?
Okay, so the city dives in to clarify the ordinance. For some scenarios with horses and exotic fish, business owner, and all that stuff, and this is the last quote I used, and this is featuring John Wilkins.
Well, I think there's a question whether this is really a public safety issue or not. With numerous questions that Ed brought up that I had concerns about too. There's a little bit of a change to the ordinance about what's a wild animal and not, that sort of thing. So I think there's plenty to discuss on this just to clarify things and tighten up the ordinance.
Ms. Bentley?
All right, so...
Wow.
So he suggested that they go back to committee, and of course they did eventually vote on to go back to committee.
Yeah.
A couple of them wanted to vote to keep it in discussion so they can continue on the meeting, but then they just made a vote, and they fell short by 1 vote. They needed 8 votes in favor of continuing on this ordinance meeting, and they only got 7.
Yeah.
So they're going to be talking about this again in the Public Safety and Health Committee meeting next Wednesday. So a week from today, they're going to be talking about it again in Public Safety and Health, and they will post the meeting time this Friday at the city website. You can call Marty Raybine, you can call the city office and just say, ask them. I don't know the number, but you can look it up. But also you can go to www.ci.missoula.md.us. And the city council was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty heated. I just love city council just because it gets fun like that. And that was heated. And what the mayor said was we've known each other for many years. Whoa, that was interesting.
I just wanted to put it make a meme of it and just this level of disrespect.
Yeah, whoa. Yeah, that was very interesting. But I think Ed Childers has a point because
Ed Childers has been on the board for many years,
and
longer than the mayor's been the mayor.
Yeah, I think that he's got a good point that what the language that's in the ordinance isn't really attempting to do. It just puts it out of Missoula, and so we don't have to see it or worry about it anymore. It doesn't really solve anything.
That's what he's basically saying. Is we'd protect the animals of Missoula and basically say that, but the ordinance has, if they want the ordinance to be exactly what the ordinance is going to be, they're going to have to make the ordinance say we don't accept that kind of behavior and that kind of stuff with animals here in Missoula.
Yeah.
Who's with us?
Yeah.
That's the kind of ordinance that they have to create, not an ordinance that says, oh, we don't want this animals for, seeing cruelty to animals.
Yeah.
And, there's many other stories, and there's many great quotes from both sides of this story, because the Shriners have done a lot for everybody. They've brought these acts, and they've been doing this for such a long time. I can understand why they don't want to not worry about this, but we're running out of time, and we have to wrap up our show. So join us next time, this Friday, for Wake Up Missoula.
Yep. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you Friday.